Hey, and good day, everybody. David Cross here with you. I wanted to go over a couple of PowerShell concepts, ideas that I kind of stumbled upon this last weekend. And one of those was, as for those who are familiar, I've been working with this IP control module where I can build in the APIs, or I have, that use the REST APIs directly to IP control, and you specify the command executive and your login and things. But it effectively does a number of functions for importing, exporting, getting IP devices, and so on. And one of the reasons I created this, and kind of going back into some of the silent videos that were there recently, is when I have done presentations for customers or for other engineers, it's rather difficult to explain or to show consuming APIs unless you have some type of interface, whether that's a curl or some type of shell. I've done a ton of curl things. I think that's rather boring, when you think of it there, but it gives you the idea. So I've been thinking about this. How do I best go through presentations, building out even entire databases in an automated way and still use the technology I built, which is this PowerShell module. And I've also tested this PowerShell module on the Linux using core PowerShell 6, and that seems to work too with some modifications. So before I finally release this, I'll have a version that's fully compatible with both Windows and Linux. But to kind of get to the point of this, as I was researching it, I thought I would love to have an interface on this and started stepping through a demo of how do you go in and create sites and do all of this fun stuff. And then I ran into PowerShell Studio. And I don't know for any of you who have seen it, but PowerShell Studio is a great application. I evaluated it, and within a couple of days I had to purchase it because I just really can't see doing what I want to do without this application because I haven't found anything better to automate the WPFs or the forms that PowerShell supports and allow the triggers and allow all the type of visual basic type interfacing that I'm very familiar with and the trigger type things that I could build interfaces and distribute this just simply as a script, and it builds the interface if you have Windows.NET installed. And it's a very small function, and it's great. And so I went ahead and broke down and bought it. It's about 400 bucks. Anybody looking to do that, I highly recommend doing that. So here's what I have, and just to kind of give you a real quick rundown, and this is almost the same project I start with in every language for every API project I've ever started. Logging into IP control, adding IP addresses by type, and automatically doing that. So what I did, within a couple hours of getting this, Office Studio last night, or this PowerShell Studio, is I created a real quick interface that I'm going to log in to IP control. And what it did for me is it went out and queried using one of my APIs, one of my methods in my module. It went out and queried the blocks by UDF of VLAN ID. And it generated a list of these, sorted it, and returned it into a drop-down that I can now use into the process of determining what subnets now match that VLAN ID, which is what we want to go in and provision IP addresses from. And then once we select the subnet, it'll calculate the available IPs. Again, all of these are using my PowerShell, so just wrapping that on top of the GUI now. And then the device type, if I want to go in and add some devices, servers, printers, modification of those lists, and then have it automatically check things. So just like my Visual Basic apps, but in PowerShell. And then here I went ahead and added some other things like ping before assign. So this first one will be a little delayed because this IP doesn't exist. But when it does come up, it'll give me ping before assign. And I've even got some things that go out and check DNS for the host name and so on. Or if I want to do without that, you can see it goes a little bit quicker, and I can just keep clicking this, and it'll give me the next available starting from the end of the subnet. I can change the name policies, things like that, or request 5, 10, whatever you're going to allow through policy, and assign those IP addresses. And I thought that's pretty cool for a couple hours work. And taking advantage of all those hundreds of thousands, hundreds of hours I've put into the scripting, but taking advantage of it in front of the UI so that for those administrators who want to put this on their desktop, my concept when I'm done will be like an tray icon. You'll be able to pop up, quickly add IP addresses, pop it down, have other things like here, send an email, save it, maybe pull in some other things here. But I'm going to try to build this out as a quick little applets that you can then download and for like a shareware do that. but then also to provide some other capabilities for searching and deleting and auditing and things that are just kind of built into the applet itself that I intend. So, hey, quick video. I hope you saw something you like. If you do, let me know, because I'm pursuing this pretty heavily, and I ultimately am going to have some things that kind of take advantage of a lot of these APIs to kind of build a bootstrap for evaluation systems. You know, I might have some demo data or things that I want to set up, and it'll actually walk through and demonstrate as it does that, the build out. So kind of like my silent video, but I'm going to build this further and check back, because I do plan to pursue this and make better use. So thanks. Take care and let me know if you have any questions.